are 3 ways to invest in property without buying one. Property is certainly an attractive investment because it's able to generate passive income for us, while at the same time it's a well-known asset to protect against inflation. But to own a property can be a hassle with high barrier of entry. Firstly, there's a high upfront cost involved. To buy a property, you need to pay for down payment, legal fees, valuation fee, all this fee, that fee, all this adds up to a cost, sometimes hundreds of thousands. And even after buying the property, there's a lot of ongoing costs involved, like maintaining the property, renovation, furnishing, and if you rent out to people spoil the property, you need to put in money again. All these costs makes it really hard for the average people to own a property today. But there's a way to actually own property and enjoy the passive income that comes from it without the need to go through all that hassle and the upfront payment. In fact, it's not just one way but 3 ways: the Wall Street way, the hustler way, and the trendy way. Let's start with the Wall Street way, which is REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust. So what is REITs and how it works? REITs is an investment vehicle where it pulls money from numerous investors and pass to a professional management team to purchase, to develop, to manage, and to sell real estate assets. So why people buy REITs? The first reason is because of its great dividend return. This is because in order to qualify as a REIT, a company must distribute at least 90% of its taxable income to their shareholders annually in the form of dividend. Therefore, end of the year, you got money lor. The second reason is the chance to actually own big properties. Now, we are not talking about big house bungalow. We are talking about owning big property like the Pavilion Shopping Mall. Not just that one mall, but the many Pavilion Shopping Malls. Yes, because when you buy into a REITs like Pavilion REITs, you actually are one of the owners of Pavilion Shopping Malls. So next time when you walk into Pavilion and you go to Chanel, you can tell the fella, I actually own part of this mall, okay? I mean, for most average people, it's almost impossible that we can own a big commercial property like a shopping mall or either a big commercial center, right? Ultimately, you can actually only do it via owning REITs and become part of the co-owner and enjoy the rental income that is from Chanel and Hermes and Rolex, all these big companies. The third reason that many people buy REITs is because of its liquidity. You can buy and sell your REITs anytime as you wish. Unlike owning a real property, if you want to sell it, it will take a few months. Imagine today if you own an apartment, you want to sell, you have to contact the real estate agent, do multiple viewings, the person have to apply loan from the bank, approve already, only can buy from you, then need to wait for title transfer blah blah. In the end, probably after 3 to 6 months only you get your money. But REITs, it's listed on Bursa itself, listed on major stock exchange. So when you want to sell, immediately you can sell on the stock market and you get your money the next day. So it is very liquid, and that is why investors who prefer liquidity but wants to own real estate enjoy investing in it. Now, to add on, REITs are especially popular in places where property prices are very expensive. For example, in our neighboring country, Singapore, where property prices keep going up and rental keep going up. Because of this high rental income, it gets to be passed on as dividend to their shareholder. Malaysia also got pretty good REITs as well. So if you want to invest in REITs, what can you do? Well, all you need to do is just open a stock brokerage account and buy it on the stock exchange. Like in Malaysia will be Bursa, in Singapore will be Singapore Stock Exchange. So you can just open any brokerage account. For example, you can open a Mumu Malaysia account where it allows you to buy Malaysian stock, US stock, and in future, maybe even Singapore stocks. Then you can access to the REITs in these places. Now, if you open an account and you deposit 500 ringgit, you actually get 100 ringgit extra as well. So you can take the 100 ringgit and buy more REITs and generate more passive income for yourself. So if you're interested, buy a REIT, go and check out the link in the description. The next one, the hustler's way. This one is really a hustle method, which is subletting a rented property for a longer lease at a lower price. Wait, are you confused? Well, actually very simple. What you do is you go and find a unit where it's very hot for rental. You rent the whole unit from the landlord. You ask for a longer lease and a lower price. And then you break it down into multiple rooms and rent it out by room basis to people. For example, this unit 2005. Then you negotiate with the landlord. You say you want to rent for 3 years straight. What happens is that you say, with such a long lease, you give me slightly cheaper lah, 2003 or 2002 can or not? If the landlord say okay, then good to go. So imagine if there's 4 rooms. What happens is they rent out each room at 800 ringgit by average. So ultimately, you actually get 3,200 ringgit, but your cost to rent the whole unit was only 2,300 ringgit or 2,200 ringgit. Like that, you get to earn the difference. Why people do that? Number one is a lower upfront cost. Comparing to buying a property where you need to put down 10% down payment of the whole unit together with legal fee and everything else, this one, all you need to pay for is just 3 months upfront deposit together with the lease agreement. So that probably costs you less than 10,000 ringgit, which is a much more affordable amount than a down payment. On top of that, when you lease it out by room, you get more money and you get passive income. On top of that, because you actually don't own the property, so you are not in charge of much of the maintenance. For example, if the light bulb spoil, the fan spoil, the aircon spoil, all these are none of your business. It's actually the landlord's business. So in other words, you get to manage a property without the cost of managing a property. Why is this the hustler way? Because this may not be ethical and it may not be legal as well. So you better talk to the owner and get their permission to do this. If not, you may get yourself into legal issues. Anyway, this hustler's method of owning a property is quite popular, especially in places where there are many colleges or education centers. Because students who come from outstation will need a place to stay, and usually they do not want to rent a full unit, but rather they choose to rent a room. Now, the third one is the trendsetter way. Well, this one is really trendsetter because it's pretty new in my opinion, although it's been around for a long time, but it's not that familiar to most of us. In fact, I only discovered it when I was researching for this topic. The whole idea is actually to invest in something called tiny houses. We are talking about small houses that are around 200 over square feet up to about 600 over square feet. Usually it's modular and custom built to the needs. Now imagine kind of like a studio, but it's not a studio, it's a house. So it's not an apartment, it's a standalone house, okay? At one point it was quite popular in the US because people get to buy these kind of small houses which are much more affordable than a proper real house. Now, so as I was reading about this, I found out that there's a company in Singapore called Big Tiny which offer an investment opportunity in tiny houses. So how it works is that you buy a house with them. You can choose to buy the whole tiny house, or you can choose to buy just one lot, which is a fraction of the whole house, at $10,000 Sing or 30,000 Malaysia ringgit. Then what you do is you lease the house back to them. What they will do is they will deploy this tiny house to some ecotourism spot. It could be in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, anywhere. Then they will rent it out as an Airbnb. You know, it's kind of like glamping, but instead of staying in the tent, you get to stay in a proper tiny house. Yeah, that's how it works. From there, you will get a consistent return of up to 10% annually. Then after a few years, if you wish to, you can sell the house back to them at the price of purchase. So with this, you get to build a passive income stream for yourself, just like being a landlord, but without the hassle of managing a house yourself. Now, it's quite a known fact that when it's an Airbnb, it does earn more money than normal rental, but it's a hassle to manage. And in this case, they are managing for you and they are deploying it into ecotourism spots. I've been reading about this, and apparently in Singapore it's getting quite popular, and they are even working with Singapore government to deploy these tiny houses in this Lazarus Island to make it an ecotourism spot for Singapore. So why do people invest in this tiny house? The first thing is that definitely it generates positive cash flow for you, giving you a healthy income. Number two, since it's a real estate, there's some sort of inflation protection, right? And finally, because it's being managed by a professional team, means you don't need to worry about managing the unit like light bulb spoil lah, toilet block lah, how to rent out to people lah, pass out the key, marketing it lah, all this you tak perlu fikir pun, they will manage for you. Since I don't own a unit, I can't really give you my experience, but from what I've read on Seedly, it is not bad. But take note, just like any investment, there are risks. So according to one of the investor in Big Tiny who posted up on the forum, he said that here are some of the risks that could be involved. Number one, maybe they can't collect enough rent to cover the payment. This could be a risk. And then number two, competition from other another rental home, this also could be a risk. Number 3, maybe if government policy change and clamp down on tiny homes or mobile homes, or either a downturn in economy reducing demand for short holidays. So all these could be risks. Just like any other investment, they are risks. So make sure before you do any investment, go and do your own research. So as I was preparing for this video, researching about this tiny houses investment, I actually did a little bit of digging to find out how they can give their investors such return. I went to their website tinyaway.com to see how much are they renting out each of this unit. What I found is that the cheapest unit is renting out at 428 ringgit per night. The most expensive one will reach up to about 600 ringgit. So let's take the cheapest unit, 428 ringgit per night. Assuming they are able to rent it out 6 days every month. 12 months in a year, that's 30,816 ringgit. And the cost of a tiny house is 300,000. This means around 10% return. This is how they are able to generate revenue with the tiny houses and share the profit with the co-owners. The next thing also regarding laws and policies, it seems like because all these tiny houses are actually very mobile and it can even be moved by wheels, so many countries don't even see it as houses, but rather seeing it as a mobile home or caravan kind of thing. So they don't even have any property laws applied to it. So far it looks like it's safe from any sort of policy or laws, regulation kind of thing. So it seems like as long as the ecotourism industry will be doing well, then this tiny home seems to be a pretty interesting investment to look at. I personally think that the best way for you to find out is this holiday, go check out Lazarus Island. Since the government of Singapore is working with them to build ecotourism houses there for people to visit, maybe you should go down there, check out the crowd, see whether are there many people or not, or what's the traffic like, get a better sense of it to figure out if this is the right kind of investment for yourself. Anyway, if you want to find out more about how to invest in a tiny home and generate passive income with little money, check out their website my.tinyassets.com. Alternatively, you can just click the link in the description below. So here are the 3 ways to reap the benefits of property investment without the hassle of property investment. And they are the Wall Street way, the hustler way, and the trendsetter way. So why not you guys tell us which one do you think is the most suitable for yourself? Share with us in the comments below. See you guys in our next video.